we have to focus on building our influence, building our muscle, getting a seat at the table. State's responsibility is not to think about कि इतने लोगों को इस चीज में ट्रेन कराओ और इतने लोग स्टेट्स रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी इज टू इंश्योर कि चीजें अंदर की होती हैं, जो आपके प्लेटफॉर्म्स और जो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है ये सीमलेसली ऑपरेट कर रहा हो.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Policy Beats. I'm Kashif Rahman and our guest today is a powerhouse of a woman with the vision to lead Pakistan into the digital era. She's the former special assistant to the Prime Minister of Pakistan on the Digital Pakistan Initiative, Ms. Tania Idroos. Tania, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, Kashif.
So let's start by discussing and understanding what Digital Pakistan Initiative really is. What's the vision behind it? And what have we really achieved so far?
So Kashif, I'll take a step back and talk about the sort of premise behind why collectively the Prime Minister and many other senior cabinet members felt like there was a need for something like the Digital Pakistan Initiative, and then I can talk about what the initiative entailed. I can talk about what the progress that was started during the time I was in the government, and of course, I'm certainly not the best person to be commenting on the progress to date. I think you should be discussing that with folks in the government. But again, Kashif, for to achieve anything, there are a few steps involved, right? First of all, you need to have a goalpost or a sort of a clear sort of line of sight and vision. Ki pahunchna hai kidhar? Like, where do you want to get to? Then you need, and normally in the case of government and policy making, these are things they tend to be long-term in nature. So the vision is not something that will be achieved in a year or 2 years. It's, when you're talking about almost reforming multiple parts of a country, we're fundamentally talking about a long-term vision. And then that has to be broken out into sort of bite-sized milestones that you then look to achieve by year. And then you have stakeholders, you have people who are responsible for achieving those milestones, and then you have an accountability process. So when you look at something like technology, you look at something like digital, as we talk about it in today's sort of terminology, it encompasses so many different things. It's almost like a horizontal. Right, so it's hard to call it. अगर आप ministries को देखें तो ministries normally actually government में almost everything is complex in nature, but technology is something that almost touches everything. So it would be simplistic to say that it could just fit into a ministry, or that you could create a new ministry for it. So there was a need felt that you had to almost develop this overarching agenda, which then became Digital Pakistan. And then there was a need for determining कि उस umbrella के नीचे what are the things that we want to achieve. So, taking a cue from the Prime Minister, we spent a lot of time talking to people in the federal government, in the provincial government, understanding what progress had been made, understanding what other countries were doing. Some countries that were similar to us, उन्होंने leap ली थी और leap ली है, किस तरह ली है, and basically 5 pillars emerge किए थे, and those 5 pillars were the fundamentals of what this initiative was. And you've heard me talk about those in the past, so I'm not going to bore you with the details. But those 5 pillars broadly went across all the way from access and connectivity, which is really fundamental to a country, and then went all the way to creating a better environment for technology and for entrepreneurship and for innovation. And then in the middle, there were a number of other things. And so that was almost like the overarching goal behind it. Now, obviously, because this is multi-stakeholder, it required getting multiple people whose responsibility it was to make those changes on board and to sign up to actually hit those milestones as part of their performance agreements. And that's a very complex thing to do, because you're saying to multiple ministries, federal, provincial, कि यार आप अपना तो काम जो कर रहे हैं, लेकिन आपने ये भी छोटी सी चीज उसमें add करनी है. Right? So that sort of just explains to you the complexity. So look, I mean, I was in my role for about 4 months. It was a short stint, and in that time, I'm proud to say that what we did get into place was a very clear blueprint for the areas that had to be digitized. And that was we felt very important, because before that this goalpost didn't exist. जिसको हम really जो focus था digitization के ऊपर, उसको create करना बहुत जरूरी था, and that was something that a lot of in the early days, a lot of my attention and time went on.
So Ms. Idroos, Pakistan hasn't been able to attract the big players in digital arena such as Netflix, Apple, Facebook, Google. What do you think are the main hurdles in setting these technology giants in Pakistan? And will we be able to resolve these in the foreseeable future?
So Kashyap, let me clarify before I answer. Do you mean that we don't have offices of these platforms or companies in Pakistan, or is that sort of the focus of the question, or something else?
About how lately there's been a debate about bringing the companies to Pakistan, having their offices set up in Pakistan, having local presence for them. And we're also working on laws regarding this, right? So I have another question for the laws. I will ask you that question later. But for now, I want to comment on what are the main hurdles in attracting these companies to come and set up offices in Pakistan.
Sure. So Kashyap, first of all, when you talk about any big company, big brand, whether it's technology or anyone else, any other industry, there are a few different things to consider. Most companies that are for profit, that are, fundamentally these are businesses. They will look at a business opportunity in a country, and that will be normally the primary factor that goes into decision making. Now, of course, there are lots of other factors. In the case of many of these companies that you listed, it's the number of users, it's the environment, the laws and regulations in place, the safety situation. The sort of list goes on and on. So normally and again, I can't speak for every company, but having spent over a decade in the industry, I can tell you that these are not black and white decisions when it comes to the companies, right? So when they're looking at a set of countries or a country, and they're trying to figure out, answer the question, do we put physical presence or do we open an office there? Normally, a lot of these, just हम भी बात कर रहे थे about cross multi-stakeholder on our end, it's actually fairly multi-stakeholder on the company's end as well. It's not like there's one person sitting with a decision-making switch and saying, now let's open an office tomorrow in Pakistan. There are multiple pieces of input that need to come in. So, let's talk about Google as an example, which of the companies you mentioned is the oldest in age, at least, and so has been around for a while. Google has over the past many years, looked and entered into multiple emerging markets, many in Southeast Asia. They tend to start off with what are called sales offices. So what that means is normally the first set of people that they will have on the ground in a country will be sales employees. Those are people that are generally generating business. By the way, Microsoft does the same, Oracle does the same. Most tech companies will normally put sales people on the ground first. So, अगर आप इनका ये भी देखें, let's try to understand how do these companies make money. They make money through ads, right? Majority of these companies make money through advertising. Pakistan till 7-8 years ago, there wasn't much of a digital advertising industry. We had an overall advertising industry, which is in the grand scheme of things, if you compare it to global standards, is small. So the pie is small, and वो pie जो है वो digital नहीं थी बिल्कुल. So if you look at it from a big company standpoint, then it starts to they start to look at trade-offs. कि यार अगर हम इधर ऑफिस डालेंगे तो पाए छोटी है already. उसके अंदर से पहले हमें we have to fight to get a little piece of the pie for digital ad dollars. Then we have to look at the trade-offs. Are our employees going to be safe? If somebody puts offensive content on YouTube, will we have our country manager be arrested? So these are the types of things that companies try to answer before they physically put their employees on the ground and they make that decision. So now you could argue that ये सब solvable problems हैं, ठीक है? Revenue, digital advertising Pakistan में has grown and has actually grown quite well in the past few years. So you could argue compared to 5 years ago, today there is a case to be made that there is a real business here. Now, of course, every company will have a different threshold for what that amount is. The safety situation has improved dramatically compared to if you look at like a few years ago. So there are lots of positives that have happened, and so it's a little bit tricky to blame one side or the other. So it's not it's hard to blame कि यार हमारी government की वजह से ये लोग नहीं आए हैं, या also hard to point a finger that the company doesn't want to come. And I think both sides obviously want things to move forward. On the Pakistan side, the government obviously would love for these companies to come in, set up presence, invest in the country. These companies would love to have presence here, because again, remember, them growing their business for Pakistan from outside Pakistan is actually quite hard. Go on the ground, it will be a lot easier for them to grow it. So it's a complex equation, which it's important to understand the pieces that go into it before sort of saying कि ये क्यों नहीं हुआ, या
So coming to, like you said, this is business and they're looking for profits. And you also mentioned that the government is really interested in bringing these players to the local market. So one of the criticisms from the technology corporations and from local practitioners as well has been the legal and bureaucratic straitjacketing through cumbersome licensing and registration processes, etc., have been one of the reasons why they're not here. Given that the current government has made ease of business one of its main priorities, has also been actively working on internet laws, and their stance has been that these laws will help bring these players to set up offices in Pakistan. Do you see any development happening in this domain in future? And then let's also come to the policies that we can introduce that need to be put in place to attract these corporations to come to Pakistan.
Yeah, so again, Kashyap, what I'll say is absolutely laws and regulations play, as part of that decision-making matrix that we were talking about. That's a very important component where companies will spend a lot of time, their own lawyers spend a lot of time looking at a specific country's legal infrastructure around a number of things. You mentioned this yourself. I actually think in the last year, if I have to really break it down, the amount of progress we have seen come out of SCCP and the State Bank has been very, very positive. I think there's been really, a focus on understanding what the problems are, not just, by the way, for the technology industry, but across the board. And then putting solutions in place to start to make ease of doing business better. So I am personally very excited to see that progress, and I think there's a huge kudos are deserved in both of those organizations. Now, again, it's not just that, right? So SCCP or State Bank ने तो दो components solve कर दिए, but on the flip side, let's look at the social media laws. I think we've all seen the impact over the last sort of 14 to 16 months. The first set of laws came out early last year. Then there was a revised set of laws that came out late last year. We've all seen the response, not just from the local communities, but also from the international communities to those laws. So while you can make great progress on improving ease of doing business, it takes certain language being used in a set of laws that, to actually undo a lot of that progress. So I think it's important to balance these things out. When the laws are being created, is appropriate consultation happening? Is consultation with the right type of people happening? Also, ultimately, are you setting laws to, एक spectrum है control का? आप बहुत टाइट कंट्रोल के लिए लॉ सेटअप कर रहे हैं या आप इस एंड ऑफ द रेंज के लिए लॉ सेटअप कर रहे हैं? तो द रियलिटी इज द मोर ऑन दिस एंड यू गो, द हार्डर इट विल बी टू गेट many of these companies who are sort of उनकी ethos के अंदर control exist नहीं करता. Now you could argue के करना चाहिए and they should understand local context and local laws and they should understand local sensitivities. मैं उस topic के ऊपर नहीं बात कर रही. But I'm just saying that the reaction that you get then from these companies is कि यार, we don't want to be in a place जहाँ पे इतना strict, sort of control के ऊपर हमें constantly respond करना पड़ेगा. So what I'm saying is I think in some places there's been really positive progress, in other places we've been held behind because of policy making. So it's a double-edged sword in many ways.
So speaking of laws, we've spoken about local regulations and laws, but let's discuss the policies and regulations at the end of the social media platforms. You said that control is, their policies do not really recognize controlling content, but we've also seen recently that Twitter and other social media platforms, but especially Twitter, has been taking down content on brutalities in Kashmir, on farmers' protest, on the recent COVID crisis in our, even the recent COVID crisis in our neighboring country. While it still allows extremist content on Pakistan to be run unabated, are social media companies inherently discriminatory? What are the policies that allow them to practice such biases? This is what I'm looking to know. And since you have such a long experience with Google, you must understand where these policies come from and how these decisions are made.
So Kashyap, look, very, very, very good question and a very difficult question to answer without being politically incorrect. So I'm going to be a little bit politically incorrect. देखिए, होता ये है कि most things, as we know, are not black and white. Just in the world, right? There's this huge gray that exists. अब जब आप decision making कर रहे होते हैं किसी भी चीज के अंदर, तो what matters a lot is कि वो कौन है जो decision making कर रहा है, या decision makers को influence कौन कर रहा है, right? Who are the people who are influencing the people? ठीक है? So let's actually talk about where do we stand on the global stage? What is our positioning? What is our muscle with many of these companies? That's actually what we need to be talking about. The reality is not that कि कहीं पॉलिसी में कुछ लिखा हुआ है एग्जैक्ट लाइन कि यार पाकिस्तान के ऊपर डिस्क्रिमिनेट करो या दूसरी साइड ऑफ द बॉर्डर. Of course there will be no policy that will say that, right? And again, I mean, I don't have the policies of these companies in front of me right now, but you could be rest assured that nobody's going to put that down. Lekin, I mean, let's face it, if we're specifically talking about our neighbors, the reality is every single company that you have mentioned here has a huge presence with thousands of employees there. Very, very senior citizens, members of those countries are part of these companies. So is there going to be an inherent bias? I mean, you answer that question, right? Whereas हमारी अगर आप देखें पाकिस्तान में Pakistan ki hamari proportionately we are nowhere close. So if you apply the 1:6 proportion, so this is a conversation to me that is almost not even worth having, simply because of the fact that We have to build our muscle um, before we can start to complain about these things, because देखिए ये चीजें होती रहेंगी. This is not going away anytime soon, simply because we have to focus on building our influence, building our muscle, getting a seat at the table. When we can solve those problems, then you can start to say, okay, now you have a seat at the table, now you can raise your voice at that table. When you don't have a seat at the table, there's nobody raising your voice, right? So in fact, if a voice was raised in your favor, there is a very good likelihood that many of these companies would actually listen to that voice. मसला ये है कि voice उठाने वाला कौन है टेबल के ऊपर. तो हमें as a country, we need to be looking very deeply at why is it, where have we gone wrong in the past few decades, हम क्यों इतने outnumbered. और हमें again and again, not without playing the blame game. देखिए blame game play करने से कोई फायदा नहीं है. You have to look, अपनी sort of गिरबान में देखना जरूरी है ना कि हमने क्या गलतियां की हैं कि we don't have enough people that are going into these industries, we don't have enough people going in these countries. हमने अपनी voice क्यों नहीं strong enough create की है in these global forums. And then now let's set a plan, let's set a long-term plan, and then let's try to do it. That's the only way out of this. It's not. You can create some short-term noise and say, यार देखो हमारा उठा दिया, या कश्मीर के ऊपर ये कर दिया, या कोविड के ऊपर कर दिया. मतलब उसके ऊपर, as you know, पाकिस्तान की साइड पे बहुत शोर मचता है. What impact is that shore having? It's not. So you've got to find a way to create the noise in the right forums, with the right people, through the right people, with the right level of credibility. वो जब तक नहीं होगा, we're not going to get the output that we are all yearning for. That we get the sort of fair treatment that we deserve, and we do deserve that fair treatment, right? We're a country of 220 million people, and there is often treatment that is dealt by many of these companies that, if you just look at it on paper, looks unfair, and that's deeply hurtful to many Pakistanis. But creating noise about it in your own circles is not going to solve the problem.
Like you said, that we need to have a seat on the table, which brings us to the earlier conversation that we were having, that we need to attract these players to the local market. Now, speaking about technologies such as, let's speak about digital currency. Speaking of technologies such as blockchain and AI, are revolutionizing the world, with the major international firms such as Tesla also investing in Bitcoin. Recently, Governor of State Bank of Pakistan also expressed some interest in digital currency. Do you feel like Pakistan should be taking initiatives to regularizing cryptocurrency, or even introducing state-backed digital currency? What are your views on that? And was there a plan in the Digital Pakistan initiative to make this happen?
So Kashyap, again, good question. Let me answer the second part of your question first. देखिए, जो Digital Pakistan के नीचे जो pillars थे ना, they were looking to create the infrastructure. And what do we mean by that in that sense? When you're creating the infrastructure, you're basically laying the जो roads होते हैं ना digital era के अंदर enter करने के, उनके भी roads होते हैं, जैसे physical roads होते हैं. तो the government, as you think about a government and what a state's responsibility is, state's responsibility is not to think about कि इतने लोगों को इस चीज में ट्रेन कराओ और इतने लोगों. स्टेट्स रिस्पांसिबिलिटी इज टू इंश्योर कि चीजें अंदर की होती हैं, जो आपके प्लेटफॉर्म्स और जो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है ये सीमलेसली ऑपरेट कर रहा हो, ताकि उसके ऊपर जिसने आके अपनी गाड़ी चलानी है, अपनी जो वो उसके ऊपर कर सके. सो इन द केस ऑफ नाउ payments or currencies, let's talk about what the Digital Pakistan initiative was talking about. What was needed and what is still needed is the ability for a Pakistani citizen to, first of all, be able to be identified digitally, Then in the case of money movement, be able to send money from one place to the other seamlessly, real time, and also to provide their consent digitally. So with, what that means is digital signatures, etc. कि आपको हर दफा जाके मतलब अपना अंगूठा ना लगाना पड़े, या बेसिकली ये ना, अगर आपकी इन चीजों की एबिलिटी की आप इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को ले कर देते हैं ना, तब नाउ यू हैव ऑन टॉप ऑफ दैट द एबिलिटी टू इनोवेट एंड गो इन मेनी डिफरेंट वेज. ठीक है, इसके ऊपर प्राइवेट सेक्टर प्लेयर्स आ सकते हैं, कोई भी आ सकते हैं. सो द डिजिटल पाकिस्तान इनिशिएटिव वाज लुकिंग टू टैकल दैट प्रॉब्लम. Now, your question was, look, you've got all these new technologies that are coming, they're transforming the world, they're changing the world. Again, ultimately, the way we need to be thinking about this is, what are the problems we want to solve? Okay? Based on what problems we want to solve, there are lots of different options and lots of different and new ways coming up consistently to solve those problems. So when you talk about something like AI, AI की application किन किन जगहों पे हो सकती है? Practically in everything, like in everything from agriculture to education to health to population. I mean, anything, wherever there is large amounts of data being generated, you could argue that there is the ability to apply machine learning and artificial intelligence. So the important question to be asking, in my opinion, humble opinion, is not कि यार हम technologies use क्यों नहीं कर रहे, but more कि यार let's figure out कि जो problems हमने solve करनी है उनको आप stack rank करें, उनके solutions में, जो उन problems को solve करने के solutions में, is there room for these new emerging technologies? Right now, when we talk about something like digital currencies, देखें, we are a cash economy. हमारी digital, we haven't even moved from, we're still low single digit in terms of digital payments. So for us to be talking about digital currencies, we need to be spending time understanding and following what is happening very, very deeply. And that, I believe, is absolute. So I was very happy to hear that the governor is thinking about it and is talking about it and is actually proactively looking for input on it. Are we ready today to flip the switch? No, I don't believe we're ready to flip the switch. We have to get our own house in order before we can suddenly, jump into that. I mean, there are countries that are much further ahead of us, that are still spending time thinking very deeply about, digital currencies, alternative forms of currency, कि उसको किस तरीके से उसको tackle करना है. So I think we're still some ways from it. Again, that doesn't mean that you say we're never going to do it. I think we absolutely keep our eye on it. We understand कि हमारी अपनी issues क्या हैं, get them in order. And then if it feels like, and of course, this is again one of those multi-stakeholder decisions. If it feels like we're in a position where flipping the switch allows us to leapfrog, then at that point, the stakeholders come to a table and make that call.
Perfect. So my next question is about inclusivity. When we talk about digital spaces, there's one of the major issues is of inclusivity, especially for women and their access to internet and digital platforms. And you have spoken a lot about internet for all. Digital inclusivity for women or access to internet or digital platforms for women has been one of the major issues in societies like ours when we talk about digital platforms and progression. How do you plan and how did the Digital Pakistan initiative make sure that women were included and other gender minorities were included when we spoke about Digital Pakistan and making Pakistan digital?
Yeah. Look, I think it's a phenomenal question because, again, in a place where half of your population, continues to be left behind, whether it's digitally or financially or in the workplace. I mean, the reality is you can't expect the economy to grow if, again, 50% of your population is not offered the same needs. So the very first pillar of Digital Pakistan was fundamentally about what we call access and connectivity. और access and connectivity में दो aspects आ जाते हैं. एक जो बहुत important है, which is that जो जरिया है connect होने का, which are your devices, वो affordable हो. और दूसरा जो connectivity itself है. So, getting access to data, etc. Wo not only broaden ho, reach more sort of further parts of the country where, it hasn't reached yet, but also get deeper.
Yeah.
Right. So by default, our numbers cannot increase if we are not inclusive. And this is inclusive of not just women, it's inclusive of, any type of minority that, and women are not a minority, right? Women are 50% of your country. There's certainly a minority on the internet. So, if you look at the numbers, most usage numbers, similar to sort of financial inclusion, digital inclusion continues to remain to be a problem. So, iske andar bhi again, like we were talking earlier, Kashyap, these are, these are issues that are not as simple as कि आप phones बांटने शुरू कर दें औरतों को. Even though I'm not saying that that won't help, that will certainly help you move the needle up. But इसमें, these are their deeply rooted sort of social norms and sort of cultural elements built into this. Right? How often do you hear of instances and stories where women will come and say, "यार मुझे तो मतलब पैसे मैं earn करती हूँ, लेकिन मुझे phone की ownership जो है वो मेरे मियाँ के पास है."
Yes.
You hear of this a lot. Or यहाँ how often do you hear कि अगर उसको phone या internet दे देंगे तो खराब हो जाएगी.
Yes.
Right? So these are not. These are problems that are very deeply rooted and not problems that are going to be solved overnight, just by, as I mentioned, just by sort of policy making changes. Now, policy making can certainly impact the two things that I was talking about, which is affordability and quality of access. And those are two things that I believe we should not be compromising on. I think we have, instead of taking steps forward, I think in the last year or so, we've taken steps back. So we need to, जब तक हमारी population on connect नहीं होगी, देखिए मैं क्यों इसको, why am I so passionate about it? Because जब आपको access to the internet मिल जाता है ना, you can be anyone sitting anywhere. You could be not allowed to get out of your house. You could be, suddenly आपकी दुनिया खुल जाती है. Access to information आपके लिए खुल जाता है, ability to educate yourself, ability to educate your children, ability to start to earn an income. These things are possible today. They were not possible 10 years ago because of the fact that these platforms didn't exist and the internet was not as prevalent. Right? We didn't have 3G, 4G. So ये चीजें बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट है बिकॉज ये पॉलिसी मेकिंग से इम्पैक्ट हो सकती हैं. होगा ये कि जब लोगों को नजर आना शुरू हो जाएगा कि यार हमारी जिंदगियां बदल रही हैं, हमारे दिमाग खुल रहे हैं, तो that will start to sort of slowly move the needle in a certain direction. However, again, it's still a long battle that we have to fight together. It's not something that's getting resolved in the next 1 or 2 or 3 years or in the term of one government. It's much beyond that.
So coming to my last question, I want to wrap this discussion up by asking you about your basically personal mantra that you introduced. You said roti, kapda, makan, or internet. Is internet in today's day and age really as important as food? Where does internet really fit into this equation?
So Kashyap, it sort of became a mantra. I don't think it was necessarily my mantra. वो तो मैंने sort of mention किया था उसको and it sort of got picked up. But here's what I'll say. Think of what's happened to the world in the last, 14, 16 months, right, during COVID. Think of the fact that we're doing this interview right now. Which wouldn't have been possible. Think of workplaces, think of schools, think of, if anything, if it were not as important as some of these other things, it certainly has moved up in importance. Right? And particularly in the world that we now are faced with and that we now need to learn to live in. Right? The importance is not going to go down. It is only going to go up. So, of course, yeah, अगर आप एक बात कर रहे हैं, I mean, absolutely, अगर आपके पास 2 वक्त की रोटी नहीं है खाने की, तो इंटरनेट तो आपकी लेकिन अगेन रिमेंबर, इंटरनेट के अंदर जो एबिलिटी है इकोनॉमिक मीन्स प्रोवाइड करने की, वो आपकी रोटी के साथ हेल्प कर सकती है, वो आपके मकान के साथ हेल्प कर सकती है, राइट? यू हियर ऑफ दीज अमेजिंग स्टोरीज, रियली हार्टवार्मिंग स्टोरीज कम आउट वेयर people have increased their household income multifold, क्योंकि आदमी जो है वो करीम का ड्राइवर बन गया है. Now, what is that, right? That is largely because of the fact that a sort of internet-based platform आया that helped solve a problem. It created massive job opportunities. So I think that's the mindset that we need to get into. Is that not less or more important? It will only get more important if we focus on improving access and connectivity to the rest of the country that is not yet connected, and we make it more affordable. It will only move us forward in the digital era, and that's critical for us. It's critical for us as a country, and it's really critical if we are going to play that role that I was talking about earlier of pushing to get that seat at the table. Right? We can't go and push for a seat at the table when our own house is not in order. So it is an incredibly important part. I can't emphasize that enough.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much. It was lovely having you on the show. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me, and great talking to you, Kashyap.